What's going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar and welcome to a video on the channel that you probably had no idea was coming, that I didn't even know was really going to come to the channel until I was offered a spot in APA-LC, and I was like, you know what, why not? I can get why not get it because it's LC, because I can have a little bit of fun with some cute mons before the game ends. I realize there's no music in the background right now. Don't click off just yet. There's in-game sound once I click play, I promise. So we're going up against Nick Clutch sometimes. I'm playing him in BBL, I think the final week of the season, or maybe something like that. But he's also in the running for first place of BBL, so I know he's a good battler. He's got a really good team versus my team specifically. Some things I didn't bring. Yeah, I don't even remember what I didn't bring. Pidgey, Whismer, were two of them, and then there was two others that I can't really remember right now, but these six have a really good matchup. I brought Rocky Helmet Pharaoh Seed. It allows me to go off some really good chip damage on the Alolan Grimer, as well as the Timber. This Timber, it can Drain Punch me, but I can knock off its Violet or its Berry Juice or something along those lines to be able to just do a lot of damage back to it. I brought a really fat Spritzy said, I contemplated between this and Nasty Plot Trick Room, or just Trick Room in general, because as you can see, his team is very fast compared to mine. But then I realized that with the way I wanted to win, I couldn't bring Trick Room. So I brought just Wish, Protect, Moonblast, and I believe Toxic, I think. Not 100% sure. I brought a Violate, Intimidate, Litten, U-turn pivoting with Flare Blitz, Crunch, because my opponent also had a Muna and a Frillish, so I was like, okay, at least I can get off some decent damage with that. I brought Froakie, just pivoting, Life Orb with U-turn, Scald, Ice Beam, Grass Knot, I believe, were the four moves. I brought DD Tyrant, which is my win con this game. His team just loses to it at +1 if I have my Sturdy and or my Berry Juice still intact. And then I brought a really weird mixed defensive, somewhat speedy Esper with Thunderwave. So let's just go ahead and hop right into the game. This game was actually a lot of fun. I had a blast with it, so I'm excited for you guys to see it, and it's in Citra, because I like recording in Citra. I think it's awesome. So I'm going to lead off. Ew, I don't know what that noise was. He's going to lead off with Grimer, and I'm going to lead off with my Pharaoh Seed. My Pharaoh Seed just gets to click Knockoff versus my opponent. Being able to click Knockoff is absolutely huge, because something doesn't want to take the hit. But he's going to go into his Charmander. I do get my rocks first because I wanted to be able to pressure this thing, get 25% off. I don't want it to be able to just freely DD up on me and be really annoying. I know that my Litten can take this thing on pretty much indefinitely because I do have Intimidate. I also have Pivoting. Even a neutral Rock Slide does not one-shot me, so I can get off a good amount of damage, putting it in range of a bunch of other hits. So that is the main reason why I went into my Litten. He's going to go for the Rock Slide and miss, which is super unfortunate. I kind of expected him to switch out, which is why I went for the U-turn. Now that I've gotten off a little bit of chip damage, I'm going to go into my Tyrant. With Sturdy and Berry Juice intact, he cannot one-shot me with anything. I get back up to full, get my Sturdy again, and then he's in a really bad scenario. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click Earthquake here, get off some nice damage on this Timber, and then I'm going to be putting him into a spot where he has to either make a prediction or he has to switch out. It's just kind of the way the cookie crumbles. I'm going to go into my Spritzy here. It's literally my best check to this thing. He's going to go right for the knockoff to get rid of my Violate, I believe is what I had on this one. Yeah. And now I can just fire off a Moonblast. Like, he doesn't really have a good switch into Moonblast either. Even this Grimer is going to take a decent amount. And if I'm Nasty Plot, I don't think it can take a +2. So this Moonblast is really good versus my opponent. So I get off a nice Moonblast. He would have been able to take a +2 one, but I would have still gotten off a lot of damage. I'm going to go back into my Pharaoh Seed here as he can click Knockoff, he can click Poison Jab, he can even click Fire Punch if he wants to, I don't care. I'm going to get off some nice Iron Barbs, and I'm going to get off some nice Rocky Helmet damage, and that's all that I really need for my Tyrant to sweep, and that's kind of the end game that I'm going for in this game. So here I'm going to go into my Litten. My Litten is just my blanket check to a lot of his physical mons, and with the Intimidate, it makes it to where I can live a bunch of hits with my other Pokemon. as he's going to reveal the rest. Now, this was a little bit worrisome, but at the same time, I was like, okay, so now I get a free attack, and I don't have to worry about him switching into anything. So here, I'm just going to go right for the Flare Blitz, get off some good damage, and as you're going to see, he's going to stay in, and he's going to take a lot of damage from this. He's going to take approximately like 45%, meaning that this next one could kill, because LC damage rolls are absolutely stupid. He's going to go for the rest talk, and he gets the knockoff, and he's going to knock off my Violite. So these are my two Violite users for this game. Very, very cool. So next, he's going to go do his Charmander, as I clicked Crunch, I believe, or Flare Blitz. I clicked something to get off some really good damage, Flare Blitz. And he's not going to appreciate that, literally at all. So now, even if he does DD up, he's not going to be able to do anything, except he has the Berry Juice, which puts this into a whole new problem, and I'm in a very bad situation. He's going to go right for the DD, and here, because I expected him to DD, I believe I clicked Crunch. I believe. Yeah, I clicked Crunch to get off some nice chip damage. As you're going to see, that does about 45% as well. So now that I've gotten off some nice chip, I'm expecting him to attack. I'm going to go right into my Ferroseed as he clicks Rock Slide, and he hits it, and it doesn't kill, because Ferroseed is stupid. So now all I have to do is click Flamethrower or Flare Blitz or Fire Punch or literally anything. But he's going to go for another DD, and here, I'm going to pause this real quick. I think this was a misplay on my opponent's part, because I still have my Tyrant in the back. No matter how much he sets up, he's not going to be able to break through my Tyrant in one hit, and I'm going to get my Tyrant back up to full health. So I really think that was a misplay, personally. He allowed me to get up, as you can see, a layer of Spike. And once Spikes are up, he struggles to switch into my Tyrant in general. Timber then becomes two-shot. Even with Mach Punch, I can still, like, two-shot it easily. So I think that was a misplay on my opponent's part, but that's one of the only misplays he made literally the whole game. So I go ahead and I get up a Spike here. So now I have a layer of Spikes up, and I have Stealth Rock up. And he's going to go for Brick Break, and he's going to take some Iron Barbs damage. And this is huge. He's now below 50%. This means I can click Dragon Claw and kill him with my Tyrant. So as you're going to see, I'm going to go right back into my Tyrant. This is going to be my nice little revenge killer. And I'm going to go for the Earthquake. He's going to go for Brick Break. He's going to bring me down to Sturdy. I'm going to get my Berry Juice, and then I'm going to go back up to full health and get my Sturdy back intact. This is one of the most busted like strategies in LC with Magnemite, with Tyrant, with literally any Sturdy mon. It's absolutely stupid. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake here. And once I've gotten this thing pretty much out of the way, I realize that I have a really easy way out of this game. I just need to make sure that I keep my Tyrant's Sturdy intact. So here I'm going to pull the switch out, and I'm going to go back into my my Spritzy, which is my main check to this thing, and he's going to make a really nice prediction to go for Poison Jab. He's not going to go for Drain Punch, he's going to go for Poison Jab, and this is just going to flat out two-shot my Spritzy very, very easily. He's going to outspeed me the next turn and go for a second one. This means that now I don't have a good switch into this thing. I don't have just a blanket check that I can chuck in front of this thing and get off some really nice chip damage. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Froakie, and here I'm going to make a play that I feel as though Clutch thought was a prediction. That wasn't a prediction at all. From this range, Ice Beam actually does more than Scald does, because it's not resisted and it's more powerful. So if I click Ice Beam here, I kill this thing. Even if it's like really Spadef Violite, I kill this thing, along with covering any other switch in that he could possibly want to into Ice Beam. It covers going into Grimer, I two-shot that. It covers going into Cottony, I one-shot that. So this Ice Beam here is just the freest Ice Beam that I've ever had in my entire life. So I also EV'd my my Froakie wrong. I needed to make it 19. Either way. So here I'm going to go for the Ice Beam, and I one-shot this thing. And this was a really big problem to my Tyrant, because if I was able to DD up, he could Encore me with Prankster. I couldn't spam Dragon moves, so it was very, very difficult for me to get that thing out of the way. So now that it's out of the way, I'm in a really good spot. Right now, I think I live an Earthquake from this thing, from the range that I'm at, even after Stealth Rock. So what I want to do is I want to get up and Intimidate on it, and then I want to pull a switch back into my Froakie, so I take even less, and I can probably force a sack. And by forcing a sack on his end, I put him in a way to where my Tyrant can DD up once, and it puts him into a 50-50 scenario. So right here, I go back into my Froakie, and I can click Scald here. Scald, he doesn't really have a good switch into. He goes into his Grimer, and by going into his Grimer, he pretty much sacks it off for the remainder of the game, which is really, really good for me. So my Esper at this range also does live in Earthquake, which is pretty big. I'm sorry, I went for Ice Beam. I don't know why I said Scald. I think I clicked Ice Beam because it still killed the Diglett. and it covered the Dratini switch in. So now that he comes back into his Diglett, what I'm going to do is, with him taking all this chip damage, I'm going to pull a switch and I'm going to sack off my Esper. Now, sacking off Esper does two things for me. It gives me a free switch into my Sturdy Dragon Dance user, and it forces him to pretty much lose this game, honestly. And I'll explain why. So he goes for Earthquake here, and he's going to kill me. And now I go into my Tyrant. There's a couple different scenarios that could happen, right? He is Life Orb, by the way, which is really, really cool. So, now that my Tyrant is in, I can either click... I'm going to click Dragon Dance. He can do a plethora of things. He can either go directly into his Timber and click Mach Punch to break my Sturdy. Then he can have Choice Scarfed Dratini in the back, risk the speed tie. If I win the speed tie, I win the game. Or he can switch into his Timber, break my Sturdy, and then lose the game. He can stay in with Diglett, lose Diglett to an Earthquake at +1, or play like a Sucker Punch Mind Game type thing. But then after that, he loses to Froakie. So it is a complete mind game, and it all depends on what sets he brought. And it's not like any amount of plays can change anything. It's literally what sets he brought. If he brought the right sets, he wins. If he brought the wrong sets, he loses. If he brought Sucker Punch on Alolan Diglett, if he brought Choice Scarf Dratini, and if he makes the switch into Timber right now, he can win the game. So, as you're going to see, Clutch does switch out, and he goes directly into his Dratini, not his Timber. This screamed to me that he's Choice Scarfed, and this is how he's going to try to break my Sturdy to then kill me with Timber, with Mach Punch, and then I kill him with Froakie, and then he goes into his Diglett. But as you're going to see, he's not Scarfed, so I still have my Sturdy intact, which is huge. He didn't even have E-Speed to break my Sturdy, so it's just really, really good for me. This is a really good scenario. So now, even with Mach Punch, as you're going to see, it's not going to bring me down too low to where Sucker Punch will kill me from this range, depending on if he's Adamant or Jolly on his Alolan Diglett. And I get to click Dragon Claw here, kill the Timber, and now I definitely outspeed this Alolan Diglett, and I can just kill it with an Earthquake. Stealth Rocks and Spikes came in clutch that game, because it automatically took everything down to 75% aside from this Diglett and the Timber, and even then it got really good chip damage off. But Tyrant pretty much just came in clutch, swept that game for me 3-0, and it put me in a really good spot for LC, because as you guys know, I'm not the best at LC, and it's not my favorite. So that is going to be the game, guys. I hope you all did enjoy. If you did, please make sure to leave a like down below for me. Make sure you check out my opponent, and their links will be down in the description below. But guys, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.